Morning, everyone. It's lovely to see you. So I am Gemma, the Partnership Manager for the BBC Children in Need Emergency Essentials Programme. Family Fund, who is a grant provider in their own right, support BBC Children in Need to deliver the Emergency Essentials Programme. The programme is predominantly an individual grant giving programme, so we don't support organisations as such, but we support the families that organisations are supporting. So we'll go through a little bit more about the Emergency Essentials Programme. We've got some slides, but I'll let Emma introduce herself as well.
Yes, I'm Emma. I'm the Referral Engagement Officer for the BBC Children in Need Emergency Essentials Programme. It's quite a mouthful. Yeah, so I work with Gemma. Gemma's my line manager, and we are the partnership team together. So there's just us two who do this nice little job. So yeah, like Gemma, I'm also employed by Family Fund, but we are a dedicated resource to the Emergency Essential Programme, and we deliver the programme on behalf of children in need.
Okay, that's brilliant. We've got someone else joined us, someone who's iPhone 2. I don't know who they are, but what I'm going to do first of all is ask Sika if you can just introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, morning. My name is Atika Chowdhury and I'm from Bromley Parent Voice. So we are an independent parent and carer forum for supporting families of children with special educational needs and disabilities, 0 to 25. We go all the way up to 25 because that's when the EHCP cover is. And we are a signposting forum. We've recently become independent, and we basically signpost parents to various other organisations, give them support as and when they need it, maybe information on various disability related issues, information and rights. And I also forward our families onto Jenny from LWFCI as well. A lot of our families use your service, don't they? So yeah, so and we've run a number of different things, and one of them that we've kick-started again after the pandemic has been our coffee mornings that we run twice a month, and parents just come together. They've been isolated for a long time, and that's the kind of thing that I like to do. So yeah, we do lots of things.
That's great. And Jennifer, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and thanks for having us. My name is Jennifer, and I am from Lay Witnesses for Christ International UK. We are based in Bromley, and we've been operating since I could say that our project started since 2012, but we've been running this charity since 2011. We run different activities, and most of our activity are for children and young people and families. So one of our main activity, our main project actually, which is on the banner, it's called Destiny Children and Family Support Forum. And the Destiny Children and Family Support Forum have been running since 2015, and it's growing. We provide different activity for children aged 5 to 16. Some of activity run in Bromley and some in Uppington, and those activity are purely for children with special needs. We also do inclusive activity as part of sport activity. So we run like a football club, which run in Uppington for age 8 to 14. And that is inclusive, where we allow children with special needs to play with other children in a safe environment. We also run inclusive basketball in Bromley, and that one is for age 11 to 16. And again, the aim of it is to allow children with special needs to play with other children and socialize and also be part of the community. One of our projects is currently actually is being funded by BBC Children in Needs. It was a 3 years project, and recently we received an extension for another year, and that is a Destiny Children and Family Support Project, which run once a week as an afternoon club. And that one is purely for children with special needs and a family support group. So the family support group, Attica knows about us, and she refers a lot of family to us, and they are beneficiaries. So thank you so much, Attica. And Steve knows about us as well. He helped us with the funding applications to see how we can continue to develop our projects and continue to support our families. So the Destiny Children Family Support Group is a peer support group. Myself, I'm a parent of 2 children with special needs, and we support each other, share different informations. We invite guest speakers from different professional background who come and empower parents, and parents share their own experience, their tips, and the whole idea is to support one another and to break down the issue of isolation, and to make sure that all of us are included and all of us are supported. So that as, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Is that you, Brenda? Hello.
Yes, it is. It's just I'm on my phone and I don't know how to put Brenda up.
Okay, that's fine. Okay,
I'm sorry I'm late because I've just been in another meeting.
We're just going through introductions at the moment. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Brenda.
Sitting on the corner of a road, on a wall. I'm from Rotary. We're involved with a whole range of humanitarian and service projects. In particular, at the moment, we're working with Ukrainians, working on projects on warm, safe spaces, and we work with all ages of the community where there is a need. Okay.
That's brilliant. Okay, well, thank you all. That's wonderful. We've now, I think, we've got a good feel for the sort of services and support you provide in the borough. I'll hand over to Gemma and Emma to talk through the programme. So over to you. And I've actually put the share facility on, so you should be able to share your slides.
Got you. Okay. So that was really lovely to hear about, what your organisations are getting up to. Absolutely fantastic. I suppose before we start these slides, don't forget, make sure you check out familyfund.org.uk. Jennifer, Attica, I'm sure that you already know about us, of course, nodding your heads. Yeah, I thought you might do. So yes, Brenda as well. So yeah, great. I'll move on to the Emergency Essentials programme, because as Emma has already said, we are a dedicated resource for that programme. We work on everything emergency essentials, and yeah, we don't work on Family Fund, even though we're employed by Family Fund. But so that's just to give you an idea. So we're very separate to our main charity. Okay, and the grants here are very different to what we do on Family Fund as well. Both have their place, and so please do check us out. Check out Family Fund as well. Okay, I'm just going to find my slides. And yeah, if you want to ask any questions during this session, then that would be great. But this workshop is mainly aimed at organisations who may want to join us as a referrer organisation, and to give you a little bit of background about what you might need to do to join the programme, and a little bit about our eligibility criteria and everything on the programme. So let's do a bit of history first. The programme went live in 2018. And we're now in our 5th year of delivery, which is really great. It feels like I'd say about a week ago since we started, doesn't it, Emma, I think? But yeah, we've now been going for 5 years, which is great. We are, as I've said, we are, employed essentially by Family Fund, myself and Emma. The contract is delivered by Family Fund Business Services and Family Fund together. So our funding's around £3 million per year. However, during the pandemic, that did rise to over 5 million as a result of donations from the BBC's Big Night In. If anyone remembers that, back in 2020, when we were all in lockdown, the BBC did a great show, and it meant that we were able to support a lot of families during lockdown in those times when it was really difficult. So yeah, that was really good. But we're back to our normal funding, which is £3 million per year, which comes directly from BBC Children in Need, and it's their grant programme and their money. So we just help them to deliver what their aims are. The whole point of the Emergency Essentials programme and the aims behind it is to meet a child's most basic needs. So that is, your bed to sleep in, your cooker to provide a hot meal, washing machine to have clean clothes the next day for school. We see a number of applications from schools and different professionals working in that area, and they'll refer a family to us, make an application for a washing machine because maybe the child has noticed that their clothes aren't clean, and unfortunately they've had the conversation, the washing machine's broke down and there just isn't any money there to buy a new one, and then there's struggling with laundrette costs and all those sort of issues within a household. So that's what this program is there to provide. The beds, I would say, they're one of our most requested items. I believe the BBC are actually doing are doing some campaigning about beds specifically on one of their morning shows. It's a real point there that they're trying to raise awareness about and to try and find support for families, because it is a crucial thing, having that bed to sleep in, to wake up rested for school the next day. It makes a huge difference to children's lives. And you might think it's just a small grant, a couple of beds, but it makes that big difference, and that's what the Emergency Essentials is all about. We do small individual grants, but they have a huge impact for families. So yeah, a little bit about us there. I want to talk to you about the first 4 years of delivery. We're just started year 5, so our year starts in June. So we started again with our new round of funding on June the 1st. It was great to be back, because we did actually close for the first time last year for 4 weeks ahead of when we would normally have closed, and that was just due to demand really on the programme. It was, it was a difficult year last year. When we entered the start of year 4, we had all of the impacts of the pandemic, and I'd say demand was running about 60% higher than normal. And yeah, it just meant that our funding didn't go quite as far. This year, things are looking a little bit more stable, but we are forecasting a busy October and quarter 2 into quarter 3, basically. But we're ready for that. We've got everything in place to make sure that our funding will stretch. We've also got an announcement which I'll talk to you about at the end of this presentation. Again, happy to take questions if you've got any. But yeah, just to highlight some brilliant things. We hit sort of the 1,000 children supported mark at the end of year 4, which was absolutely fantastic. All of those children that have received support from us across the United Kingdom, we're very proud of that. And then to give you an idea of what our norms are, so at any one point we have around 4,500 referrers making applications. That's lower at the moment because we've started again in the year and people are just starting to get to know us again, which is why we'd love to invite more referrers on board, and we're here to help if you need us. So obviously financial hardship alone can't be the only reason for application, and that is because when I come into the eligibility criteria, you'll see that everyone who can apply is on a low income anyway. So there needs to be something else. There needs to be a vulnerability or a crisis over and above financial hardship. We understand that's important, and the whole point of this programme is, it's to relieve poverty and destitution. But there is a vulnerability and crisis element to this fund as well. So domestic abuse has historically been the main reason for application, but that changed a little bit over the 4 years. It changed last year significantly, where we saw mental health significantly on the rise. I'm sure people won't be surprised to hear that, and then obviously elements of social housing, homelessness, but hugely, people come to us because of the essential breakdown of an item to prevent them falling into debt. But there will be other circumstances behind that household need. So the vulnerabilities, we call them, internally, and that could be it could be exactly what we were talking about at the start there. There could it could be disability, chronic illness, it could be anything really. Each household is very unique, and the disability, chronic illness doesn't need to be obviously the child or young person themselves. It could be the impact that things are having on them. It's and I would say it's endless, the vulnerability and crisis element to our fund. There's no real definitive list of what a vulnerability or crisis is. I mean, if you look at some of our case studies historically, they've been young carers. You know, we've done everything from, you know, the floods being a crisis to specific needs within a household, and all sorts of different vulnerabilities. Everything's different, and you know, it'll depend obviously in the arena that you work as well as to what circumstances you're presenting to. Okay, so that's just a few highlights there for everyone to take in. Lots of different milestones that we've reached there, but it's been a fantastic 4 years into 5 years now. So yeah. So our programme cannot be accessed by members of the public directly. There needs to be a referring organisation there to help them to make that application. So each referrer will have their own online account. Once they've registered, they can then log into their own account. Organisations can have as many referrers registered as they wish, but each individual has their own account and access to the online application. And within their account, they'll also have a dashboard where they can see the applications that they've made. So it's individual to each employee. The only thing I will say is there is a requirement for a for an organisational email address. However, we do have some, let's say, yeah, we are able to have a look at each individual organisation's any issues that you may have with that requirement. Myself and Emma will be able to talk you through that if you're not able to meet that, and then we work on a case-by-case basis with organisations to see if we can help. But that's the only sticking point, I would say, at times. It is for the individual employee to have an organisational email address. But we understand that that can be a barrier for some organisations, smaller community-based organisations, but we can try and get over those hurdles together and work with organisations. So always worth getting in touch, I would say, on that one. To give a brief overview of what we get asked for the most, so it's your cookers, your fridge freezers, all of those things. Furniture, so white goods, furniture. Probably at the moment it's more towards the furniture element than white goods. Historically it's always been a 50-50, I would say. Q1, which is June to August, we always get a lot of clothing requests because of school uniforms and all that requirements of going back to school. We see different patterns in different quarters, to be fair. But at the moment, I'd say the furniture is probably the most requested item. So it's your beds, it's your bedroom furniture, so your wardrobes, your chest of drawers. We even do desks for children. And this fund also does things like dining tables and chairs, which I know, you know, a number of funds don't provide things like that. But we feel like, well, our programme, we feel like it's, you know, really essential for families to have that place to enjoy a meal together, that togetherness at meal times, as well as it also serves as a, you know, a place for children to do their homework too. So we do offer those things. The things we can't do, so flooring, we always get asked, you know, can you do flooring? And in all honesty, we'd either need to do what we do there, our normal bread and butter of items that we provide, or do the flooring, because we know that there's a huge amount of demand for flooring out there, and for us to try and meet that need, it would mean we can't do what we normally do with our normal items as well. We just can't do both with the funding. So we stick to what we're good at, and we haven't gone into that arena, I'm afraid. General everyday ongoing costs, that's your bills, that's housing costs, we can't do any of that. We are, you know, a provider for those basic essential items, and hopefully in the local community there are probably some more areas where you may be able to find that support, but for us it's not something that we do. Section 8 of the referrer guidelines it outlines exactly what we can and can't do, and to be honest, that section is very small. It's only a small list of what we can't enter into on this programme. What we can, you know, is more open. If it's not within that list, then we can do it more than likely. Again, if you've ever got any questions about, do you do this item or can you do this, then it's worth getting in touch to see if we can either add it on or find a supply for it, or, you know, there is options within our grant making as well. So always flexible to emerging needs. To give you an idea of how it works, a little visual there. So as I've said, you know, members of the public cannot apply directly. There needs to be a referral agency in place. The referrer, as we call our, you know, our network is made up of referrers across the United Kingdom. That's our language that we use. Our referrer will then make the application online using their online dashboard. Should take about 10 minutes to make the application. We don't need war and peace. It is just a basic outline of the circumstances. We know that our referrers are professionals working with families. Their time is best served supporting families and not, you know, obviously with a massive application form is the way that we look at it. So you will confirm that the family meet our eligibility criteria. You'll answer 2 questions on vulnerability and crisis and a little bit of data entry, and then that's it. Send it off to us. We will have a look at it, and most decisions are made within 5 to 7 days. We can take up to 10 days to make a decision if we need further information. So yeah, just to give you an outline of how long things take. But I would say a couple of days, 2 days, something like that. You might even be lucky and receive a decision that quick. Just depends on how much the team have got in their work queues, I guess. But yeah, we try our best to turn them around as quickly as we possibly can. We don't like to decline applications is another thing. So our decline rate at the moment, so we like to keep it, if we can, at about a 10% rate. And that's a natural decline rate, really. So 90% of our applications are approved, 10% aren't, because they just don't meet our eligibility criteria a lot of the time. And when that rises, we need to have a look at why. There has been a slight increase in the declines over the last quarter. And I think that's because referrers are potentially just citing the cost of living crisis as the main reason for application. So we totally understand that that is a huge crisis, yeah, 100%. But we also need to know a little bit more about the family, other vulnerabilities within the family too. So don't forget to make sure you tell us the full picture of everything going on, and that'll help us to make sure that we can approve all the applications. A little bit of information for after award. So we are a direct delivery programme in the main. That means we've got suppliers in place to provide those items that you're seeing. So if it's your beds, your furniture, your white goods, all of that is delivered through our supply chain. We don't need organisations to purchase those items. We've got all that in place. So anything you apply for will be sent to the beneficiary's home address by our suppliers. However, about, I'd say, 2% of our applications we're not able to fulfil through our supply chain. In the main, I would say that is your school uniform bits and bobs. So it's your blazers and things like that that need to be done from a local supply method. We would then require the organisation to have a backs payment on behalf of the beneficiary, and then support the beneficiary to provide those items and give us a receipt back, basically. Not popular, I would say, with our referrer network, our backs process. And that is because obviously the backs has to go to their organisation, and it can be problematic. We totally understand that, but there is no way of us doing it in any other form. So just so people know before they enter into potentially a backs award, that it would need to go directly to that organisation. But myself and Emma can support you through the audit process and everything after that. Yeah, always keep your receipts. If you've got a voucher, vouchers are sent directly to the beneficiary. But always request a copy of a receipt from a beneficiary for any clothing awards we do, would be my advice, so that you don't fall foul of our audit process. Again, myself and Emma are here to help with all of that if ever you need it. I've already spoke about this, the fulfillment process, but I think a key message here is there's no flat pack furniture. It won't arrive in a box from our supplier and then the beneficiary will have to assemble the bed. Everything is ready to go. We've got that agreement in place with our suppliers. So there's one good thing about, I would say, our process. kitchen appliances, so your white goods, so anything that you apply for, if it's a cooker or a washing machine or any of that, if there's an old one there, then it's recycled as part of the contract if you want that to happen. So there's all of that within it. So we do the delivery, installation and recycling as part of our contract with the supplier there, or they do it for us. So that's really good. We have a list, I would say. So we have a list of items that we agree with our suppliers every 6 months. And so you can't request this like a specific item. So if it's a white good, it would be, you'd have specifications for each item. So, you know, it's a 50 centimetre cooker, it's a 60 centimetre cooker, it's a 55. Then you've got your fuel and all of that. Do we just have a question then? Sorry, I'm not sure I can see everybody. That's all good. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see your hand there. You okay?
Yeah, it's Brenda. Is it me?
Hiya, Brenda.
Right. Okay. I mean, this is just wonderful. I'm working very closely with the council and the extended number of homeless people that we're getting because of the Ukrainians now leaving their hosts.
Yeah.
And we have access through a local project for things like duvets and cups and saucers and pots and pans and things like that. And there are some small grants available towards a few of the items, the white goods, if they are homeless, but not in other situations at all. But the area that we have real problems with is, and I'm literally working on it yesterday, and we'll go home in a minute and be working on it, is the actual furniture side of things.
Okay.
And of course, mainly it's single mums with, you know, 1 or 2 children. And so it's the furniture side, which is the real problem. So, you know, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing this. I'm also the resilience person nationally. So is it okay if I share this project across, I mean, is it England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, or is it, so it's all of it, is it?
Yeah.
And does
we
that
cover
include
everywhere.
Southern Ireland?
No, once that,
Right,
no,
okay.
as soon as we cross that border, no, it's falls outside of our
Yeah,
remit.
no, I
The
guessed it
emergency
was, but obviously our
response.
area, I've got to make
No,
sure I
yeah,
don't share
good question.
something. Yeah, and is it possible to have the slides so that I can share that, and if possible I might be able to draw some people together across the country that would be interested in hearing about this.
100%, not a problem. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very
No
much
problem.
indeed.
Lovely. That sounds absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
No probs. Yes, we'd love that. Yeah, the Emergency Essentials Programme covers all of the United Kingdom. But we have the only difference I would say is we have dedicated suppliers for Wales, England and Scotland. And then we have a dedicated supplier in Northern Ireland. And if you also wanted to, Brenda, we could send you the postcode. We could send you the Northern Ireland postcodes basically, so that you know where we cover.
Yeah, that would be really good, because it is a real sticking point. And for where we are getting some support, so you would be filling the gaps. And obviously every area is going to be very different as to what resources they have. Then you know, we have to have evidence, so you know, whether it's family credit or whatever it is, we have to have that evidence which is done with the application, and I'm a referrer for that at the minute as well. So you know, I would need to widen our group of referrers, so presumably it's a similar sort of thing. And also they're bought, you know, they're not chosen, it's just the specification, so that, you know, that is sort of a common approach. So that's brilliant, and it'd be really helpful, because we know we're starting off with an empty room, as it were.
Yeah,
and
appreciate
and
that.
it's several organisations that are going to need to come together, you know, that we've got to bring together to try to solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, resettlement is a huge one. There isn't a one-stop shop, is there, for resettlement in England? I would say England, Wales, yes, we do have the discretionary assistance fund, which does cover that in Wales, but there is no one-stop shop, I would say, certainly in England.
No, there is, and there are small grants and small, so we've got, small welfare support grants for homeless, but they are quite small and they can only, provide a limited, but you can't get a table, for instance, from.
Yeah, no, totally appreciate
but
that.
You can get
local
beds.
welfare provision wouldn't cover that.
So I think by working together and bringing the opportunities together, we should be able to meet the requirements, but we don't know how big those requirements are going to be. I think they're going to grow and grow and grow over the next few months.
Definitely. I mean, we know that our referrers are already using a cocktail of funders to try and meet the needs of their families.
Exactly.
The Emergency Essentials programme isn't the answer for everything, because we can do that one-off item that you're not able to find elsewhere, where our average grant value is quite low. So we wouldn't be the place that you'd come for everything, but you could have that table and chairs off us, and then you'd go and get maybe, I don't know, a sofa from somewhere else and things like that.
We can at the minute we can get all the pots and pans and soft things and duvets. We can get for the homeless, we can get a certain number. I mean, and it's it's capped of white goods, but hopefully some of them are where, so they may have a cooker or they may have a fridge, but they may not have both. But I have nowhere to get, table and chairs.
That's interesting. I mean, our referrers in Wales probably utilise us most for furniture items. So it's the furniture. The
furniture that is the big one at the minute. That would be good. So thank you very much for your time today.
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank
lovely.
you.
It's lovely. Jennifer, you've got a question.
Hello.
I saw yours pop up for some reason. I didn't see Brenda's. Sorry, Brenda.
But that's okay. I just put it up right now. What Brenda just said, I wanted to ask, what is the maximum a family can apply for?
Good question. So we will be going into the sort of the more of the metrics in a moment, but I can answer that now. So we have different, how should we say, different ways that we look at items on the Emergency Essentials programme. So we are there, Jennifer, to be that, in your toolkit, your support toolkit, we're there in your back pocket when you really need us. So you're not able, like Brenda said, to get that table and chair. You come to us for that. That would be all we can give you for the household. It's because our average grant value is somewhere around a couple of £100. Yeah, that's what it works out to when we've done everything. So if you need a white good, we would only be able to give the household that one white good. If you need furniture, we're a bit more flexible. So, you put your items of furniture on and we'll do what we can within our available for grants at that time. There is, because they cost a lot lower than the white goods, of course. If you needed beds for children and you've got 5 children in the household, don't worry, we won't only grant 1 bed and then the other 4 will be without a bed. We'll make sure that all of the children that need a bed will have a bed. So that's how it fluctuates, really. It fluctuates our average grant value in that way. So beds, always a priority. We would do beds, we would do bedding, whatever you need. Yeah, those bundles for as many children as is required in the household. That's an exception to our 1 item per household rule. But if it's the white good that you need, then really we could only do the cooker for the household. Or as Brenda said, we'd only be able to do the table and chairs. It's a lovely table and chairs, by the way. We've had some great feedback. But we're only really here for those one-off items that you can't get anywhere else, which I suppose complement your support toolkit for when you need us the most, really. So yeah, because if you think about it, £3 million, it's a bit of a stretch to go to all of those families that might need us across the United Kingdom. So our aim is to support, well, every year we look to support over 10,000 children and young people, basically. And that is our aim, and that's how we try and stretch the funding. But if we were to provide more than that, then we won't be able to help multiple households as is our aim this year. So it wouldn't go that far, unfortunately.
So it looked like we had, because a long time ago, back in 2016, we had somebody from Family Funds who came and spoke to our families. I can't remember the name, but it's a long time ago. So
Rachel, it would have been probably.
I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
I was thinking actually
Would
was
have
it,
been
but I can't remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. So the information we provided at that time, I may be wrong if I can remember it well, was that a family, that was in 2016, that a family could apply up to £500, although they were saying that they can do kind of like some, they could go over if you have like other needs. And this funding was purely for those with special needs. So I don't know if you have a different funding. That
yes,
one was purely for special needs.
Yeah, it
okay.
is. Yeah, separate. So yes, well remembered all that time ago as well. I haven't got any idea about our, our funding matrix on Family Fund, and I don't pretend that I do, but I can answer a few things. So yes, the Family Fund, the funding on that side of our charity is separate to the Emergency Essentials Programme. So, a child does not need to have, a severe illness or disability to access this fund, for example. We're a smaller grant programme, so the funding that Family Fund receive as well is well, it depends. Nations and England are different. So you've got Welsh Government funding, the Welsh side, you've got Scottish Government, and then the Northern Irish Executive with all of their grant pots that feed into what we're able to do on Family Fund. The Department for Education funds the England model of funding. So it all comes from the different governments and executives and everything across the United Kingdom. So it's very different. And obviously we're only able to support a specific family group, shall we say, and that is families raising seriously ill or disabled children on Family Fund. I don't think there is at the moment, I'm not sure what the average grant value would be on Family Fund. I don't think that is still the same. It might have been the case in 2016, but I don't hear. Obviously, I meet with all the other managers on a weekly, monthly basis across the group. But to me, I don't think there is that set amount anymore. I think it's very much more flexible and fluid. But again, if we can put you in touch with Emma. You would probably back me up on that because you've worked on Family Fund since that time, haven't you?
Yeah, the average grant value alternates and fluctuates depending on the funding that's left. So sometimes it can be really high, sometimes it can be a little bit lower. It just sort of depends on what's available at the time. Similar to us, we're trying to help as many people as we can. So we have to have that limit in place. I'm not sure what the value is at the moment, but it will definitely be different to that £500 a few years ago. I'm not sure if it's more or less, but same with Family Fund. You can go to them. Really sorry.
It's okay.
The main items that you need, such as like, I don't know, they do the same items as us, but we would recommend going to them for like your recreational things and things for the children rather than the main household items that we do.
So Jennifer, I guess the great thing is you could use the Emergency Essentials Programme for those items that you need in a crisis, and additionally, that your families can also access Family Fund if they meet the criteria too. So there is potentially two funders that you can use that work together.
Okay. So you mean here, let's say a family A have an emergency need for the equipment you have. So let's say if you're because with the normal Family Fund, the family can apply once a year. So with yours, a family can apply, let's say, a cooker, white goods, as an emergency. Within that year, can that particular family, if they have a need, qualify for their special needs child for other item within that year?
100%, totally separate. Don't even, you need to, if you think about the Emergency Essentials Programme, it is completely separate to Family Fund. So you can use us both. Fine. Even though, we're obviously supporting BBC Children in Need to deliver their grant programme. 100%, you use both of them, and our families do. We know, I was speaking to a family a few weeks ago, and they'd benefited from, this was the same question really, been sent to me from the helpline, so I got in touch, and the family had benefited from a sofa from Family Fund in this financial year. So they weren't eligible for support from Family Fund, but then something else had happened that they really needed help with. So I helped them to find a referrer, put them in, you know, and we work that way. But yes, you can. It doesn't matter if you've accessed Family Fund, you can still access the Emergency Essentials Programme as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
And they have to be through referral. So for a parent or somebody to access the emergency, you have to be a referral organization.
No other way. There's no other way.
Okay.
Members of the public cannot access this programme. Whereas Family Fund, I know we're talking about the two charities, families can go directly to Family Fund and access that funding. And I think, you know, a number of our referrers do say that, right, okay, I've helped you with the Emergency Essentials Programme. It looks like you might be eligible for Family Fund as well. Now you can start that process because it's all online and everything now, and families tend to go through that process themselves if they can and they want to. So yeah, and it's very, you know, we do, as Emma said, there are some very different things that Family Fund can provide to a family as well. So that's a whole new conversation really. But yeah, check them out. Check out the website familyfund.org.uk to see what we can do. Yeah, back to the image. I know it can be so confusing. I'm so sorry, but yeah, the Emergency Essentials Programme is very separate. The funding exists without Family Fund. It is, you know, Children in Need's money, and it's their grant programme. It's very much, you know, children in need, and you know, all of it is their aims and how they want to deliver the programme, which is great, because we use our 50 years now of grant making expertise to help them do that, which is great. So we're celebrating our 50th birthday next year, Family Fund. So yeah, great news. So let's get back to this. Items. So I think we've covered it really. I think, you know, we like, so the Emergency Essentials Programme, we like direct delivery. We don't like cash if we can help it, because it causes quite a lot of, well, it's quite admin intensive for the organisation, the other side, because you've got to get the receipts and all that sort of stuff. But that's not to say we don't do it. We can do it. It's just our referrers don't really like it as well, and we don't really like it ourselves either. But so if we can avoid a cash first approach, we do on this programme, because we're more of an items based. We're not doing the food or fuel element, which, you know, through local authorities and other local suppliers, probably cash first is better for that. But for these sort of items, we think that what we've got in place, which is direct delivery using a supplier and having that in place, works better for us and our referrers. Our referrers prefer that. So yeah. Now this is crucial now. So anything you know about Family Fund, park that away, because that's got nothing to do with the Emergency Essentials Programme. This is our basics, really, our access criteria and eligibility. I talked a little bit about it earlier, didn't I? So this is it. This is it. You know, this is the criteria. So age is a crucial one. So I know that some of your projects are supporting young people up until the age of 25. Unfortunately, once those young people are 18, they can't access this programme. And that falls back to obviously the charity articles for children in need and the sort of the age bracket that they support. So that is when the child's born. So we can't do items on behalf of an unborn child. As soon as they turn 18, no longer eligible for a grant from us, the Emergency Essentials Programme. Residency, you'll be pleased to hear that there is no residency criteria on the Emergency Essentials Programme. Well, I guess there is. The child needs to be living in the United Kingdom. We can't support any need outside of the United Kingdom. And that falls back to Brenda's question with obviously Northern Ireland and then Southern Ireland there. So that'll answer that question. And if you do want any more information about that, or if you're unsure, then just get in touch. But yeah, we can support any child or young person, regardless of their parent or carer's paperwork, as long as they're in the United Kingdom. Okay. Income criteria, I talked about this and how the decline rate is raised, and I think because of, we're just citing cost of living, not just, you know, we don't take that lightly, but I just put in the cost of living crisis as the reason, not really given anything else. You know, a sentence to say the family is struggling due to the cost of living crisis, we can't buy this washing machine. Unfortunately, we need a little bit more information to tell us about what's happening in that household. A couple of sentences just to say, you know, there 100% will be other circumstances that are affecting that household. We know that there's multiple vulnerabilities in households. So please just give us everything that we need there in a couple of sentences. That's all we need in the application. If you're not too sure about the vulnerability element of the Emergency Essentials programme, then I do recommend everyone reads it actually before becoming a referrer, obviously. There's referrer guidelines, which sort of give you an idea of what the whole programme's about. Obviously, this workshop helps as well, but just to read some of the rhetoric behind the programme as well. So there will be links at the end of this presentation which will be shared, so please feel free to have a look at, through all of those things. Children in need. So obviously if there is a if there's statutory funding available or statutory resource available that should be meeting that need, then Children in Need don't fund it. Not on their main grants programme and not on this. So if there is a statutory resource there or funding available, you need to go to them for that. Please make sure that you've made it clear in your application that there is no statutory funding available for what you need, and that you're coming to the Emergency Essentials programme because it is, you know, your last resort. That's all we ask. But we really need our referrers to be using the statutory pots where you can. I know it's easier said than done, and that there isn't a lot. People say obviously there isn't a lot locally, but please, if there is, please use that. That's our key message, just to make sure that our funding can stretch as far as it possibly can and meet as many, as many children or young people's needs across the United Kingdom as possible. Vulnerability and crisis are key ones. So I'd say most of the time, this is so the income criteria has become a problem, hasn't it, for us with our decline rate. So that understanding and explaining the circumstances over and above financial hardship. Very important. The programme is here to support poverty and destitution. However, there needs to be something else as well. And that's this vulnerability and crisis element that we need to see within that application. And I know I keep hitting home about it, but I don't want any pitfalls. I don't want anyone to be declined an application. So yeah. Please put a little bit about, focus on the impact the crisis is having on that child or young person, whatever that is and whatever that vulnerability is within that household. And then, quite an obvious one, what will happen if the child or young person doesn't get that award? If they don't get that washing machine, then they're going to be, we see it time and time again, like I said, and it's, there's elements of bullying because maybe the children are not got clean uniform, and it's explaining that, obviously that will continue to happen and the impact it will have on that child or young person's well-being. And that's all the the decision maker will need. And I'm sure Emma, who prior to her role as the referrer engagement officer was a decision maker. She was one of the grant officers on the programme, weren't you, Emma? And yeah, I'd say that's it for what you would be looking for. You'd be looking for anything over and above financial, as we say. You'd be looking for that vulnerability and crisis. You'd want there to be evidence of there being poverty and destitution, potentially. You wouldn't be looking for means tested benefits. You would accept that obviously people can be experiencing poverty or destitution and be working, or whatever situation. You wouldn't be looking for anything specific, would you?
No, exactly. And it's just that putting that line in to say what is that vulnerability in the household, what what makes things difficult for them to be able to access the item that they're needing. So the big ones that we see will be domestic abuse, mental health, disability. Crisis could be something like the item is broken down, they're moving home and they can't afford to replace their item once they move. Things like that. It's the list is sort of endless. But if you can just explicitly put in writing exactly what is happening in the household, there's no reason for it to be declined. You can obviously mention cost of living, and we do encourage you to put that in the application, but it's just a case of what else is happening in the household on top of that. So just adding that little bit more about the problems in the household above financial, because financial alone is a no-go really. If you do just submit an application based on finances, we don't decline it straight away. We will make contact and ask you just to add a little bit more. But if you don't respond within 5 days, or if the evidence you provide for us isn't, you know, any more than what you put in the application, it will be declined. So it is just adding them 1 or 2 sentences just to clarify exactly what's happening.
You can reapply as well.
Yeah,
if you are
exactly.
declined, yeah, you can reapply for that household. If we've gone through the application with you and explained, you know, we've pulled out the vulnerabilities and crisis, maybe it was your first application, for example, and we haven't quite got there as to what we needed, then we would, you know, we can allow a reapplication for the family, and we would support you to do that and make sure that it went through. But yeah, as I say, small amount really of declines that we have. Compared to a number of other grant programs, I think sort of the 90-10 is pretty good, because we want to grant all of our applications 100%. Jennifer, have you got another question, or is your hand still
Yes,
up?
the question actually is to Steve or Attica.
Yeah.
I really like what you're doing, because I know we have a few families who are in crisis. Actually, there's one who have been speaking to me for the last 2 days, and I didn't know where to send her.
Okay.
So she used to be, she's still a frontline worker, but she had cancer and she couldn't work the hours she's supposed to be working, and then she was made homeless. So she's currently right now in an emergency home as a homeless, but they are trying to rehouse her, and she was asking for support, but I didn't know. So we, as an organization, we may not have the capacity to be a referral, because it requires admin and meeting with the parents and filling this form. So question is to Attica or Steve, will you or your organization consider to be a referral, and then we signpost our parent to you? Because I know we have some parents who may need this, but as a small organization, we may not have the capacity to be the referral organization.
Yeah, I was thinking of this. We have an organisation in Bromley Brighter Beginnings, who do a very similar type of work that the Essentials Fund do. So they've already got the infrastructure in place. So I think it would be good for you, Gemma, to speak to Bromley Brighter Beginnings, because they do this on a local level, and they operate via referrals again, and members of the public donating goods, and businesses giving cash donations. But yeah, I think we've already got a similar thing here. It would be better for you to work with them, because I've already got the operation in place.
I would as well, Jennifer, I think I would recommend becoming a referrer, or maybe having one staff member, just in case you've got that emergency that you need to make at one point, you know. And I think if you were to stick to direct delivery, there's no admin within that, you know, obviously. Yeah.
So how often it takes? We have parents who I need really, but we don't want to take extra work because we are very small and we don't have that capacity.
Jennifer. Yeah. I would definitely recommend you sign up as a referrer and just have us in your back pocket, just in case for whatever reason you can't get that referral over in time, and you might, you know, me and Emma are here to help you anytime you need it.
So how does it require? How long normally will take? For instance, like these 2 parents, if we want to refer them this week, how much of my time can take? And then we just sign off this, and then because Bromley Brighter Beginning, Attica, I thought it's for babies, for parents to have babies.
No, it's they go all the way up to 16, I think, 16 or 7. Yeah, they do teenage, and because in the summer holidays they always do they run a campaign for school uniform donations, and they go all the way up to 6th form.
Okay,
so it is worth. And I was actually thinking, because we are both tiny organisations, could we come together and become sort of like joint referrers? Then we could help each other out. Would that could that work? Because we're tiny. I'm the only paid employee, and we've got 6 volunteer members, and Jennifer's got a similar kind of set up to me. So
yeah, I mean, local authority departments kind of work like that anyway when you
Yeah.
think about it between each other.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, the individual, so that the declarations and everything is on an individual referrer basis.
Okay.
So, you know, you would each join for your organisations, but if you've got that agreement between both of your
Yeah.
organisations and you support, and obviously you let the beneficiaries know
Yeah.
how it works and everything, and cover all those bases, then yeah, it's totally up to you if you want to partner on it, or you
Yeah.
know, yes, for sure. Brenda, your hand went up then.
Yeah, just a quickie. I have stopped driving because yes, the brighter beginnings are really, really good, and it is a case of putting together what's already available. So the brighter beginnings is there for all the children, and that's mainly the clothing and anything like cots and push chairs and changing tables, those sorts of things. And then we've got the starter packs, which are for the homeless, which is all the, and Rotary is supporting them and helping get more things and topping them up. As we do, we help so we try to help the organisations that are already there, that have got the distribution areas. And then there are small welfare grants that can be applied for, but again, that's only for homeless, and that mainly comes via social services. But so it is about sort of seeing what we've got there already, and I think, as you say, working together on this.
Yeah.
So that was all really to say that. So you know, there are other organisations that are helping, and the schools do the things with the with helping as well. So you know, there's quite a lot of help, but there are then other gaps. And it's those gaps that I think is really good to see how this can, you know, how these particular funds can help.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm just going to add, we know Bromley Brighter Beginnings very well. In fact, they were due to be on the call today, so I'll get back to them afterwards. Certainly share the video with them, because as you say, they do. I certainly know at the moment that they're involved in the project of supplying beds. And bedding at the moment, which is being funded through National Lottery, actually. So I think there are some other organisations I will be getting in direct contact with. I mean, Living Well Bromley and some of the other church, like St Edward's, you know, Catherine Shelley, people like that would all seem, again, people who would have access and know about people who are in genuine crisis. We're not in that position as a sort of an infrastructure organisation where that detached, whereas you will know, you know, from the people who come to you on a regular basis, who you work with on a regular basis, when they're sort of in those vulnerable and crisis situations, which unfortunately we just don't have that direct link. But I think it'd be great, because from what you say, it looks like if you register, you know, all you have to do is fill in a short form, and that's your job done. Everything else is then taken care of, decisions made, goods are delivered, you don't have to get involved. So I think if you can be a referrer, I think it would be, you know, some real added value in those cases. And there may not actually be that many cases where there's that genuine crisis need that can't be, you know, there's no other solutions elsewhere. So I think, you know, if you can think about becoming a referrer, I think it'd be really good.
I was thinking, I'm just thinking of, because it's such a small organisation, how it's going to work. But I will go back to my trustees and we'll have a conversation about it. And I think it would be really helpful if we did, because we've got direct link with all the schools. So I'm in contact with all the Sanko, you know, with the Sanko network, and so there's a way that we can get this out very quickly through the schools, and you know, so I'll have a think about it and speak with our trustees.
I think the other thing, Gemma, remind me if I'm wrong, there is a cap on how many referrals can be made from a referrer, isn't there? Is that?
So we do have a strategy in place for year 5 to make what's all about longevity of the programme, to ensure that we can meet our distribution of spend. So London and South East has a certain amount, you know, the nations have a different amount, and vice versa. But aside from that, there is, so for example, I've got a slide on this in a moment, but referrers in the north and central of England can make 2 applications per referrer per calendar month. Same goes for Wales, southwest of England. And that's based on sort of referrer behaviour in there and the demand in those regions. In London and South East at the moment, there is no cap on the amount of applications that a referrer can make. So if you're a national organisation, then your allocation, your monthly allocation, would be based on the postcode and location of the beneficiary. So so we've got all that literature as well in place. But as it stands at this moment in time, referrers in London and South East can make as many applications per calendar month as they wish, within reason, of course, always within reason. Yeah. But yeah, there's no cap there at the moment. But talking about sort of our, our limitation, should we say? I'm not sure if I like that word, but if I've already said so, if you need a big ticket item like the table and chairs, or white good, then that's all we can really do for that household. And they would be able to, and we do have a 12-month application rule on the programme, same as many others. Again, that's just one of our steadfast rules. However, we do have discretion to flex the 12-month application rule if within the last quarter of that rolling 12 months for each household. But there would need to be a change of circumstances, a clear change of circumstances for us to be able to support. If it's the same circumstances presented, then it would just be declined. So there is a little bit of flex there. And if anyone's not too sure on that, again, myself and Emma, we're here to help with all that sort of stuff. That's what we're here for. So for the if you were asking for smaller items and had a little bundle of smaller items, then the grant officer would be looking at whatever our average grant value is at that time, and we'll get to that point and decline the rest of the items. That's just simply how it works for us to be able to manage this programme and the funding in the way that we do. But like I say, if you are asking for the white good or a larger item of furniture, then that is all that you will get from this programme. Just to be clear there, really, and to manage expectations from the start. We'd love to do full resettlement programmes, but we need a significant we'd need 20 million, maybe more. We could spend that quite easily, more than likely. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? But we do what we can within our funding parameters there. So yes, Steve, this is our strategy for Year 5. It's a lovely pyramid there, and referrers in different regions will fall into different tiers. So at the moment, Northern Ireland, Scotland and London and South East are in Tier 5, so that's full access to the programme. But there is an organisational type strategy in place, which I'll talk about in a moment, and that's the network balance that we need. So all of our referrers are now in either Tier 4 or Tier 5. So as I've explained, Southwest, Central, North, Wales are in Tier 4. They can make 2 applications per referrer per calendar month, open to London, South East, Northern Ireland and Scotland. And that's because we know that referrer behaviour is allowing us to have you in that Tier 5 at the moment. Tier 4, obviously the referrers that we've got in those other areas are the demand is higher, but obviously we need to safeguard their funding pot to make sure it lasts towards the end of the year. And our referrers at the end of the day made this decision themselves. So we had some focus groups with our existing active referrers, and we said, right, this is the problem we've got, this is the money we've got, what would you like, what is your preferred thing here? So from all the options that we had, our referrers said that longevity of the programme was important, that they wouldn't want us to close. So if that meant that they could do less applications per month, or were not permitted to have as many applications as they wanted to do per month, and that's fine, as long as we're still going to be here at the end of the year when they still need to try and access us. So our referrers decided that then prioritising applications, having that that calendar allowance each month, was better than being completely open in their region, because they know demand's very high across the board, and they've accepted that as being the best option. Longevity of the programme is the best option in their view. So that's sort of how we've modelled the strategy this year. We do have an organisational type strategy. That's a very internal language, and I'm sorry about that. So basically, at the end of last year, our referrer network was heavily dominated by statutory departments, which is fine, because we can accept referrers from everywhere, whether that be the third sector or statutory organisations. It doesn't matter, as long as you're supporting families, that's fine. But there was a significant imbalance in that. We were talking as well, when we compare to other funders too, who are similar to us, ours was really out. So not that that's a bad thing, like I say, but we feel like there needs to be more of a push on rebalancing the network, increasing our community footprint on the programme, and that's what we've done. So unfortunately, we're not able to accept any new registrations. That's new registrations. Anyone that's on the programme is active, that's fine. From referrers who fall under statutory local authority children's services departments. So basically our footprint there is higher than what we need. So at the moment it's above 40% of the whole entire network for that one organisational type or one department. So we can't have that. We need to obviously reduce that. So we're working on the network. We're trying to increase our footprint in other areas. And unfortunately, we just can't accept any new referrers from those departments at the moment. And in generally, our referrers who we speak to, who fall into that restriction, are generally quite understanding, and we try and maintain that, the engagement there with those departments, and that's all we can do for now. So any questions on that, or if anyone wants to get in touch again, I'm here to talk, no problem. Just to give you an idea of what the online application looks like, Katika and Jennifer, this, for your time and to sort of see whether or not it would work for you as well. Obviously you can't see, but there is just literally a declarations tab that you tick. You'd add in the child and family contact details there. The access bit is just some tick boxes confirming that they meet the eligibility criteria. You then go on to eligibility. That's 2 questions on vulnerability in crisis, a couple of sentences. Grant processing would be where you would add your items in from the list of items. Again, a couple of minutes doing that table. And then equal opportunities, if you can answer that, that'd be lovely, because obviously we want to make sure that we're supporting as many people in the community as possible. And it's our way of monitoring that, isn't it? So yeah, all of that. And then you'd press submit, probably take you 10 minutes. And then that comes through to us, and we then process the application as fast as we can. And then everything is done electronically, so you'll receive a decision electronically to your email address, but our suppliers deal with everything else. So okay. Yeah, they contact the beneficiary, arrange delivery and all that. White goods is a little bit of a different process, but we can talk about that. Again, it's a really simple platform to use, and our referrers say it's really good the way that we've got things set up. So hopefully you'll find that true with your experiences as well. And I guess we can talk about that. There's no save and exit facility on the application form, so if you think you're going to be called away, don't start your application, and that's easy to say. But yeah, there's that to take into consideration, that you just need 10 minutes quiet time to just be able to do it, get it done, and off to us. Okay, so I've got a little bit of an announcement. This is hot off the press this morning, so you're the first to know, which is really good. We are launching probably tomorrow, if I can get everything set up in time for us to launch tomorrow and get some communications out, which is really good. We want to do it straight away now, really, if we can. So we are doing a winter support package, sort of little bit separate to what we normally do. So forget about your white goods at the moment, forget about your beds and stuff. This is different. This is a new offer. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea about this, I've just tried to illustrate what it might look like for your families, basically. There's some notes there as to what the basics are with the winter support package. So we've been in a number of networks. Myself and Emma work across the United Kingdom, different networks, different places, and we're hearing the same things, obviously, with the cost of living crisis, and brainstorming how can the Emergency Essentials programme meet the needs of families out there within what we normally do. So let's forget about your fuel and your energy vouchers for now. I'm not saying we're not going to, but let's forget about those for now. What can we do within our normal remit of the funding? So it's adding on items which might benefit families. It's your thick blankets, it's obviously your clothing vouchers. Whether they want to buy a onesie with it, then that's fine. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of different, feedback that's come into all of this for us from our referrers, who've said probably what they might want to do. I've done research in the background around our items and what we've picked to make sure that they meet our aims. And the whole purpose of the winter support package is the referrer would select some items, whatever that family might want. And it's all around keeping you warm, keeping your food warm in a cost-effective way, using as little energy as possible. Yeah. So your air fryers are on the top with efficiencies, and they use the least amount of energy as any other cooking appliance on the market. So we've got air fryers, we've got slow cookers. Obviously, we all know the research behind those items. It's your first time we've done this, so your rug and underlay is going to be on the Emergency Essentials programme as part of this winter support package to try and alleviate some of that, the issues that you've got in houses. So, to try and keep feet warm by having a rug on the floor instead of the concrete floor, floorboards, whatever it is. We know the issues, but we can't do the full-on carpeting or flooring. But our referrers who we've pitched this idea to have said, rug, underlay, brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. We love that idea that you're able to bring that on. And we've already got people who are probably going to apply this week, more than likely, for those. Your oil-filled radiators. So it's heating one room in a cost-effective way. Again, they're the specific ones that, they warm up and then they circulate the heat, and they don't cost that much to run. Is the advice. Again, we've looked at all these items, and then it's things like your sandwich maker. So you might say, why is that relevant? Well, we've had feedback from referrers who say, there's an element of what they can get from food banks. So, to be able to make, not putting the grill on or the oven on to make a toasty, for example, having a little sandwich maker to make a cheese toasty for the children when they come in from school, add a tin of beans to that, and that's a nice hot meal, isn't it? All of those little bits, it's come from our referrers and referrer feedback around me saying, right, we've got, our suppliers can do these sort of things, what do we think? And this is sort of come together in that way. And I thought I'll do a little slide on bundles. This is non-exhaustive. There'll be a huge list of all the little bits. We've got your health grills. I'm not going to say the words George Foreman because that's just a product placement there, but it's not a George Foreman, it's a health grill. We've got your sandwich makers, we've got your air fryers, your slow cookers, all of those different things for the cooking element, cooking cheaply, and even a combination microwave. So we've upgraded our microwave offer to be, they include an oven and a grill, so it saves you again. It's one microwaves the top one, actually, thinking about it, they're the most energy efficient appliance. But yeah, we've upgraded our microwaves to include a combi one. So Emma was using one in university, weren't you, Emma? Quite a lot.
We used it in an oven. It cooked everything. It was ace. Saved a lot of space as well.
Yes, yeah, space savings. So I suppose, we're considering, we know that a number of families in Bromley are potentially what we would deem as homeless and maybe not living in quite cramped conditions and all of that. So again, this is very flexible, not just for the winter support and what it's intended, but for those families potentially as well. So hopefully, it would be relevant to those families' needs too. But yeah, I don't know, does anyone want to give me any thoughts on this? It's quite new, obviously. I'm just writing a guide on it for our referrers as well. Just some thoughts really about the whole purpose behind it, and if you support it.
Right. Can I just ask the question? It's is this additional or is it instead of? So if you want a table, can you get a table and a bundle, or is it just a bundle? Or okay, so it's just
it is not additional because I mean, we'd love to, Steve, to be honest.
No, I just wanted to okay, that's fine.
We'd love to do it additionally, but no, it would be, again, it's it's that choice. if this supports your family there's all sorts behind this. There's potentially longevity this winter and into next.
Yeah.
So these items, if they're looked after, then you know, it's next winter as well. I've had my air fryer a long time now, and I use it daily, to be honest. I don't put my oven on. You know, all of those things. So hopefully it will support. It doesn't obviously help in the way that, you know, families need to have electricity on the meter to be able to use these items. I understand that, but hoping that with using local funders and different ways to access those energy fuel vouchers and food vouchers, that this could be an additional supplement and a complement to that as an offer.
It's a lot cheaper to run, isn't it? So I mean, my slow cooker is brilliant. I just, you know, before I go out to work, stick a curry on the slow cooker, and it's done by the time I come home, and it's pennies. So yeah, you are using electricity, but a lot less.
Yeah, we're hoping that it brings some longevity, and that is the idea behind these items. But yeah, the family would, you know, work with the referrer to decide what they want within their bundle. You know, and yeah, it's really open to each household's needs as to what they want within their bundle. And we're hoping that, I mean, like I've said, there's been a decline in white goods, and I think there's a reason for that, a very good reason. You know, people are probably, you know, less inclined to go for the large ticket white good items now, I guess, if, you know, when they have broken down. There's definitely some rationale behind that, I think. But this is to try and respond to the cost of living crisis in a way that we can within what we do. And we're just hoping that, you know, enough referrers recognise that it's there if they want to use it and they think it would really benefit their families. Again, Brenda, it could be another thing you've got in your toolkit there for is what I was thinking, really. So this is going to launch this week, and
brilliant.
Good. A little bit on the rush put together this slide today, so sorry about that. It doesn't really explain the whole concept behind it, but hopefully I did. So yeah, it was approved this morning. I've just got to put all the guidance together, the formal guidance, get it on the website, and yeah, we're away. So hopefully we'll have these items. There's a big list of items. This is just an idea of some bundles that you might be able to make for your families. I'm just thinking what families may go for. You know, trying to highlight insulation with curtains, the rugs for the floor, and then there's the, you know, an item to cook cheaply with, or you know, use less energy with. Some good ideas, I think. The clothes area is one that we will let our referrers decide on. So we recognise that having clothes hanging about on clothes areas might not be the best idea for certain households, but it might work for some others. So we've put it on there. If you want to, you know, if your family feel that a clothes area, which is just to stop them, you know, using a tumble dryer potentially, or if they haven't got a tumble dryer, of course, and don't want to entertain a tumble dryer, then that's totally understandable, isn't it? Everything is choice in that way, that, you know, if you do want a clothes area, then that's up to you to decide whether or not it's right for the family. I know it could be a controversial item. But yeah, we've put it on there just in case. Yeah, so hopefully it will be well received by our network is all I'm hoping. And early indications, you know, from our active referrers that I speak to regularly, they think, yeah, that definitely has a place right now. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, during lockdown, I had a parent who came to me. She had to flee due to domestic violence, so she was housed in a tiny room with her disabled daughter in a refuge, and she didn't have anything. So we managed to get her in contact with the housing department, and they rehoused her. So we do have contact with parents, and you know, because me, Jennifer, and the Rotary, we work grassroots, so we know what's going on in the borough. So this would be a brilliant thing to do if we can get our act together quickly.
Yeah, and of course I'll be able to share any Literature we've got on this offer as well, but as Steve rightly asked, it is, you know, it will be, the family can either access our bread and butter items, which has those limitations behind as well, or the winter support package and the items within that to build their bundle, whatever works. We've got the 12-month application rule to think about as well. So if a family has accessed this, then they may not be eligible again, or can't come to us until probably the last quarter if the circumstances have changed. And we just have to keep it that way to make sure that we've got our funding lasts, basically. And we can support as many families as possible across the United Kingdom, which I keep saying. So yeah, this is the first. So you get to know first, which is really good.
Really exciting.
Yeah, we're really pleased to be able to offer this to our families as well. So hopefully it will be popular over the next quarter, I think. Okay, so that's it. Winter support package, it's going live, yay. And then myself and Emma are here for any questions. I did mention that we've got a couple of links and stuff at the back of this presentation, which may be of use to to anyone who wants to join us. But me and Emma are here for any you know, if anybody wants to invite us to team meetings, things like that, then again, we're here. So I'll just stop sharing and come back to everybody. So sorry, I've totally talked for a long time, but it was great to take some questions as well. And hopefully everyone's pleased for us with our new announcement of the winter support package too.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Gemma and Emma. It's been really interesting to hear about the programme. I think lots of interest from our participants as well, which is great. And obviously we will share any slides. We'll try and get this recording up on our website and include it in our bulletin this week as well, so we can spread the message even further. Because I think if we can, the more referrers we can get in Bromley, the better. Because I think, you know, part of the message here is we're lacking, we are lacking referrers in the Bromley area, which is a shame. And if we can include, if we can help people get access to, you know, the support that they need, then that's great. There were lots of links. I think there were some questions in the chat about links to the application form. I think that's all there. So I think we can share all of that information following this session. And if you send the slides to me after this, then we can certainly get the slides out to everyone here today and who signed up as well, because I know there are other organisations who've signed up who I think would also be interested.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot going on at the moment, and you know, it's a difficult time for organisations. So it's great that this has been recorded so people can catch on, you know, at any point when they've got a spare 10 minutes. Not that there's many knocking around, but yeah, hopefully if there's any questions after this, then please do get in touch with myself and Emma. We're here.